Well, it's no secret to anybody that's been paying attention that whoever the elites really are, whoever they is, whoever's pulling the strings, they want us to live in a cashless society. They want us on a social credit score, and they don't want you to be able to afford houses or land. And I've been thinking a lot this weekend about how I'm going to strategize going forward and how I'm going to move a certain way and what am I really trying to aim at in the long term. And I've decided that I'm going to buy land before I buy a house, because at this point land is going to be more sacred than homes. And if you have land, then at least you've got something to build on. Whereas if you just have a house or something, it's not to say that a house is bad or by any means, but it's almost like if you have a house or even just an apartment or a condo or something, which is even just a lot still, like I'm not trying to downplay that, but comparatively to land, man, it's nothing. Like, it's really nothing. And the reason for that is because not only can you farm on land, you can build a house on land, you can dig a well on land, you can do a lot more with land than you can do with a house. And land is going to be in short supply in the upcoming years, whereas homes or apartments or condos, I don't know about you guys where y'all are at, but man, I see apartments going up every which way, but I don't see a lot of homes. I see apartments everywhere, but I don't see a lot of homes. In fact, in my town that I live in, they actually just demolished a mall. And what they're going to be putting there, as far as I can tell and from what I've heard and talked around the town in my community with people, is that they're going to put up new apartments. So they're not even putting up houses, they're putting up apartments. This is where things are going, ladies and gentlemen. And this leads me to the topic for today in general, which is how after the cashless society, jobs are already making people's lives miserable. Jobs are already tearing people's lives apart. Jobs are already making people having to sacrifice their mental health just to stay alive. And even then, it's like the jobs aren't even enough. Like, the jobs just aren't enough for these people out here, because you need like 4 jobs just to put food on the table and live comfortably. You know, thank goodness that I've made certain choices in my life to where, even though I don't have a lot of like a main source of income, let's say, I have several different smaller sources of income right now that are helping me a lot. And if I didn't have that, then man, I'd be shit out of luck. SOL, man. And it just goes to show how hard you really have to work in this society that we live in just to stay alive, like just to be living comfortably. And I see a lot of people out and about. Some of these women out here think that, like, think about how women want to get rich, right? And think about how men want to get rich. If a man wants to get rich, he knows he has to work 80 plus hours a week. He has to sacrifice. He has to build every single minute that he can, and he cannot waste any single time at all. He's a busy guy. He doesn't necessarily have like a lot of meetings or anything necessarily. Like, that can be a part of what he does, but it doesn't have to be. And then you've got all these other projects that the man's working on. What does a woman have to do if she wants to get rich? What's the first thing that comes to mind usually, right? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Marry a rich man. so it's like, how it's just so funny, the differences. And I'm not trying to degrade that option or anything. I'm just saying that that's the way most people think, and I think that's okay. I think a man ought to provide. I think a man ought to be able to protect, and if he can't do those things, he shouldn't be looking for a long-term relationship, or shouldn't even be in one. And women, if they want to go get their bag, if they want to go get their career, that's fine, whatever. But guess what? We're going to be living in a cashless society here in a few years. That's my assumption, with the social credit score and everything. So all of that degrees that you get, all of the money that you get from your job right now, it ain't gonna mean anything when it's all said and done in the next few years. Because think about this, and I don't necessarily want to get like political here, but I guess I kind of have to, and I want to be careful with my words, because I want to ensure that the socioeconomic status of everybody is addressed, while also paying attention to the nuances within the system of government that we have and the industries that are available, and the industries that we just work in general. But as far as AI goes, people are wondering if AI is going to take over certain jobs over the next few years, and I don't know if it's going to take over certain jobs, but I have heard of people at Amazon, where people that worked at Amazon, they saw like these robots like 6 years ago, five or 6 years ago or something, where they had the robots there practically ready to go, like they were just being tested. So I can only imagine where those robots would be at nowadays. I just saw a video of like a Chick-fil-A, like, I don't even know what to call it. It was like a hub, and it was a self-driving hub that could drive on the road, and it carried their like this person's Chick-fil-A order, and he had to like show his face and scan a card or something to have it open up. Once it opened up, he took out the bag, he took out everything. He had to go and show this camera that he had the bag, he had everything he needed, and he got his order, and then the thing closed, and it backed up off the road, it backed up off the driveway, and took off on the road. It's like, this is exactly how the cashless society starts. This is exactly how the social credit score system starts, because if you're not good, right, if you're not good, then you're not going to get your rations, right? And people that don't know about what's going on in China right now, or just what has happened in certain places across the world, like Russia and in the Soviet Union, like what happened to the Soviet Union, and what exactly is communism, and where did it end up? Where did everything happen to go after these forms of government were put into place? Well, as far as the social economic status of everybody, the bourgeoisie and the people in the Soviet Union, they were put into two classes, okay? The proletariat and the bourgeoisie. Proletariat were more of the working class, right? And the bourgeoisie was the rich man, the rich capitalist that was taking advantage of all of the proletariats. And so the bourgeoisie were really identified as a class, a socio-economic class to be targeted. And when that happened, there was the uprising in 1917. The Bolsheviks, who were the leaders of the Communist Party, is what it later was called. They just called it the Bolshevik Party up until they got clear into power with Vladimir Lenin. Then they called it the Communist Party. And after that, they had certain things that happened in their country. I think it was it's not the Red Scare or the Red Terror. Is it the Red Scare or the Red Terror? Well, one of those, Red Scare, Red Terror, somebody can probably help me correct myself in the comments there. But the Red Terror was just the general communism, fear of communism in the world 50 plus years ago. Whereas I think it's the Red Scare, which was the famine in like 1929 and 1930 in the Soviet Union. And what they did was they took all of the bourgeoisie farms and everything like that, and they gave all of the agriculture and the crops to the proletariats. Well, what happened? The proletariats didn't know how to continue the farming, and then there was a loss of land. Think about this, right? Remember what happened in Scar, like when Scar took over Pride Rock and Lion King, and the whole Pride Rock landscape was dead and spiritually dead, and there's skulls everywhere, and it was gray, and that's pretty much what happened when communism took over. Okay, and so the way that I see it, we go forward here, and what does this all have to do with jobs, right? Well, everything, because pretty soon what we're gonna have to deal with are one or two things. Number one, we're gonna have a tyrant of some kind take over, whether it's through the New World Order or whatever, or we're going to have famine. Now, remember in the Bible, it talks about the end of days. There will not be necessarily a famine of material food, but of spirit and truth and of the Word of God, right? And I think we're already seeing some of that. Are we in the end of times? I don't know. I think the only way to really determine if we're in the end of times is to look at godly people and what godly people are doing, because if godly people are breaking up, that's when we know things are about to get real. when godly people are going their own separate ways. If we're not coming together as godly people, then that's when things start to get pretty rough, as far as I can tell. But the jobs that are going to be available with AI down the line, it's like we have the potential to stop people from being able to live the lives that they want and to create the lives that they want based off of how they behave around other people. And we're already seeing that now. I know people that have gotten laid off or fired because of their political beliefs, and this was at COVID stage. Like, this was 4 years ago now, right? And people were laid off or fired, and if they didn't take that, then they were let go. And I had an opportunity, I don't know how many people know this, but I had an opportunity to make like 40% more that I was earning at the time. It was, you know what, now that I think about it, I don't even remember the number exactly. I just remember it was just astronomical compared to what I was before. And they wanted me to get the jab before I accepted the position, and I said no. That was hard because I was gonna get a raise, I was gonna get a better situation overall, but I had to stay to my principles, and I did. And it was hard, but in the end I was rewarded by God in a different way. I put something else above. At the time I wasn't necessarily following Christ necessarily, but I put something else above money, and that's what was enough to get me to a certain place. But this is why jobs are creating mental havoc among the people in this the cashless society that we live in, with the social credit score coming, mark of the beast, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's here. It's here, unfortunately, and we're just seeing the beginning stages of it, and how far it's going to be going, God only knows. But one thing is for sure is that if you're not diversifying your skills at this point, if you don't know how to farm, if you don't know how to do certain things, like plumbing or cleaning or any kind of like building of some kind, that's something that I want to work on myself, is learning how to actually build like build a home, or build like a log cabin or something. I want to learn how to do that just in case. But if you don't know how to farm or grow chickens or grow rabbits or grow any kind of farm animal that you can think of, you're you're not prepared. You're not prepared. Meanwhile, when things start to get real, you guys are going to be the ones that are coming to us. We prepared people, and you're going to be like, hey, can we get in on this? What do you have to offer? What do you have to offer that we can't already do ourselves? We were prepared. It's not our fault you weren't prepared. So learn how to hunt if you need to. That's something I want to learn as well, like learning how to hunt more in general. But yeah, guys, this is the real deal. This is the real deal. And I'm not trying to scare anybody or to sound the alarm necessarily. I'm just speaking the truth, and I'm just sending a message in the hopes that people will do something about it and be inspired to do something about it, because it's better to be prepared than not prepared at all. And with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful, and until next time, peace be with you.